Hello everyone, my name is Sumit Raj and we will be presenting on the topic estimation of benign plate thickness in low alloy steel using artificial intelligence. So let us first meet our team. Our team comprises of three members, Suman Kastur, S. Rohit Chandra Jagdish and myself Sumit Raj. So we have distributed our work into the four parts mainly. These four parts consist of the problem statement, AI modeling. So let us look at the problem statement first. Now let us look at what is bainite and how its microstructure looks like. So the microstructure of bainite consists of fine plates of ferrite growing in clusters known as sheaves. Within each sheaf, the plates are parallel and identical crystallographic orientation. So the fine plates within the sieve are known as subunits. The mean free slip distance is primarily determined by the thickness rather than the plate length. Now let us look at analyze some of the trends. The aspect ratio of the sieve decreases with deformation temperature, but is not sensitive to substitutional alloy content for low alloy steels. The subunit or the sieve width decreases with increase in transformation temperature. However, the number of subunits as per sieve decreases with increasing temperature. Now let us look at the growth of the bainite, how it affects. I mean, how it, how it affects the plate size. So the growth of bainite causes displacement, which can, on a macroscopic scale, be described by an invariant plane strain. The invariant plane is the habit plane of the plate. The strain is a large shear deformation on the habit plane and a smaller directional strain directed normal to the habit plane. The bainite transformation occurs at an elevated temperature where the austenite has low yield strength. Observation reveals the plastic relaxation in the austenite and adjacent to the plate of the bainite, as you can see in the diagrams. The strength of austenite is an important factor in controlling the ultimate thickness of bainite plates. The plates are expected to be thicker at higher temperature when the yield strength of the austenite remains low in spite of plastic relaxation. If the plates are allowed to grow freely, they would then be expected to be thicker at lower temperatures where the driving force is largest. Impingement between the adjacent particles might determine the size of bainite plates. A larger nucleation rate naturally refines the microstructure. So the problem statement comes down to relate the thickness of bainite subunits, austenite strength, temperature, and the chemical driving force for the nucleation as independent variables. So now let us look at the analysis of data. The bainite subunits data are from set of isothermal experiments on silicon-rich steels, where the precipitation of carbides are suppressed. The microstructure thus consists of just bainite, ferrite, and austenite together with any martensite. The plate thickness are listed as a function of transformation temperature and alloy composition. The austenite strength can be calculated based on the empirical model by Young and Varesia, where the yield strength is given by the expression given below. Here, Tr is equals to T minus 25 and temperature is in degree centigrade. And W represents concentration of elements in weight percent. Now, the usual regression methods do not help in finding the explicit dependence of the thickness on the strength, temperature, and driving force on the plate thickness. We have therefore opted to conduct the regression analysis with a computer-based neural network method, which do not require a prior choice of relationship between the input and output variables. So, the next part is the AI modeling part, which will be covered by Sumant Kastur.
Yeah, thank you, Sumit. Now I'm gonna discuss about AI modeling. Yeah, the technique. Neural networks are parameterized non-linear models used for empirical regression and classification modeling. A neural network is trained on set of examples of input and output data. The, out- the outcome of training is a set of coefficients and the specifications of functions which in combination with weights with relate the input to the output. The training process involves a search for the optimum nonlinear relationship between the inputs and the outputs and is computer intensive. One of the difficulties with the blind data modeling is that of all fitting, in which spurious details and noise in the training data are all fitted by the models. This, this gives rise to the solution that generalize poorly. McKay has developed a Bayesian framework for neural networks in which the appropriate model complexity is inferred from the data. The Bayesian framework for neural networks has two further advantages. Yes. First, the significance of the input variables is automatically quantified. Consequently, the model perceived significance of each input variables can be compared against metallurgical theory. Second, the network's predictions are accompanied by error bars, which depends on specific positions in input space. These quantify the modeling certainty about its prediction. This is the data we use, and yeah, the input variables considered to influence the plate thickness includes the transformation temperature, the nucleation rate, the strength of austenite at temperature of transformation, the variation of elastic modulus or the temperature range considered here negligible. Yeah, no analysis. Both the input and output variables were normalized within the range point plus or minus zero point 0.5 as follows. The formula, where x is normalized value of x, which has maximum and minimum values given by x max and x min. The neural network consists of three input nodes, a number of hidden nodes, an output node representing a binary plate thickness. The network is trained using a randomly chosen 50 of examples uh, from total of 30 available examples. The remaining 50 examples being kept aside for at first to be used as new experiment to test the behavior of trained network. Yeah, linear functions of inputs x1 are operated by the hyperbolic tangent transfer function as which we can see here, and so that each input contributes to every hidden unit. The bias is designated as theta and is analogous to the constant that appears in linear regression. The strength of transfer function is in each case determined by the weight W. The output Y is in present case the plate thickness normalized according to the uh, equation we have seen before, and it can be obtained by using the following linear operation. Yeah. The specifications of network structure together with the set of weights is complete description of formula relating the inputs and outputs. The training involves minimization of regular sum of squares. The term theta used is framework estimate of noise level of the data. The complexity of the model is controlled by the number of hidden units and the values of file regular constants. The inferred noise level of the data shows a little variation with the number of hidden units we can see, and this can be simply because the number of data used for training were too few. However, a highly complex model with a large number of hidden units may not be justified because the model may be in a meaningless way attempt to fit the noise in the experimental data. The number of hidden units was set by examining the performance of the model on the test data. A model with 4 hidden units gave the lowest test error, which is the measure of deviation of predicted value from the experimental one. This model was then chosen to represent the variation in Bennett thickness as a function of input variables. The agreement of training and test dataset was for the best models are shown in these figures. These fit appears to be good similar for both datasets, including again that model is neither too simple nor too complex. Once the optimum number of hidden units was established, the model was restrained on entire dataset to give more accurate model. Yeah, thank you. Come now, my friend. Rohit Susetti will continue.
Thank you, Sumant. And now I'll be discussing the solution approach to the model discussed by Sumant. And now let us see what is the how we are applying the model in the programming. So the model described above can be used in practice to manipulate the size of benite plates in general by altering the alloy chemical composition. The latter influences the austenite strength, driving force, and the transformation temperatures, the effects of all of which can be estimated quantitatively using the model. The model could be used to estimate the benite plate thickness given all the input variables. The effect of each individual variable is also discussed below, and the programming language we used in order to achieve the task is Fortran language, and we shall be seeing the steps involved. And the first step, in order to use the output from the neural network analysis of the toughness of steel weld deposits, the coefficients in the form of weights are stored in a file called weights, which we shall be seeing later. So this is the screenshot of the weights file that has been derived, and this is the initialization and obtaining the input from the user. And as we can see, we have initialized several variables for saving the inputs, and also we will be taking inputs from the user, which are the transformation temperature, free energy for nucleation, and the austenite strength at temperature. So these are the inputs we'll be taking, and we have also initialize few variables in order to save those input. And now we could see in order to read the weights obtained from the neural network representation, we have just seen that just the few slides ago, which we have seen the weights file, we are just reading it. And we have also set number of inputs is equal to 3 and number of hidden inputs, which are derived from the main inputs that the user is giving. So those are 4, that is in is equal to 3 and id is equal to 4. We are setting that. And then we'll see that opening the file of the weights file, and then we'll be taking the each line of that is a coefficient, and we'll be reading that. As we can see from this code, it is clearly visible. And then we'll be seeing we'll be setting up a matrix which has the dimensions according to the number of inputs and the number of hidden units, which we have already seen that the units are number of inputs are 3 and the number of hidden units are 4. And we are also setting the error to be plus minus 20% for 95% error limits, and the units are all in microns, of course. So error is equal to 0.03 d plus 00. So that's what we are declaring. So now we are reading a set of unnormalized inputs from the user, and then we are writing it into the file. And then now we are setting, we are initializing two variables, which are I error and I error. So now I error is equal to 0. That implies that all inputs are within the range of the training data set for the neural network. Thus, the 95% confidence error bars amount to be plus minus 10%. Whereas if the I error comes out to be 1, that implies that some inputs are out of the range of training data set for the neural network. The 95% confidence error bar maybe then closer to greater than plus minus 10%. And now we'll be seeing the calculation of the unnormalized output value for the given set of normalized inputs from this, and we'll be writing the equations which are already discussed by my friend. So the representation of the first equation and second equation are shown in this slide. And then we'll be in order to prevent toughness from acquiring a negative value, as it is always greater than or equal to 0, we just implement a few things so that we prevent the toughness from acquiring a negative value. And now this is how the format looks like of the output that we want that the user will be seeing. So that's we have seen. And now for the printing of the neural network representation of benite plate thickness, we'll have just seen the user will be able to see the input variables, what he has inputted the values, and also the output just we have seen in the previous slide. And now let us look at the results. So the results from the whole training data set is shown below. That is a left hand side predicted plate thickness and measured plate thickness. And the model also perceived significance of the input variables in influencing the benite. As we can see, austenite strength is more influencing than driving force and then the temperature. And now let us look at individual effects. Effect of temperature, as we can see from the graph. The plate thickness is virtually independent of the transition temperature once the austenite strength and driving force have been taken into account. Therefore, it appears that temperature by itself doesn't have much of an effect. And now let us see effect of driving force. For a given alloy composition, the driving force available for nucleation of benite increases as the supercooling below the benite start temperature is increased. A large nucleation rate is expected at large supercoolings, that is low temperatures. This must lead to a refinement of microstructures by impingement effects. And now let us look at the last effect, that is effect of austenite strength. We have seen that it has the most impact on our estimation of bainite thickness. So as described earlier, for cases where the shape deformation causes plastic relaxation, weaker austenite will present a smaller resistance to interface propagation. The plate thickness in this limit is therefore expected to decrease with increasingly strong austenite, as we can see from the graph. And now let us look at the conclusion of the whole experiment. We have done that. It appears that the thickness of bainite plates in silicon-rich alloys depends primarily on the strength of the austenite at the transformation temperature and the chemical free energy change accompanying the transformation when these variables are treated independently. Temperature does not in its own right seems to have a significant effect over the range 260 to 460 degrees centigrade, but it is possible that this situation could change should change dynamic should dynamic recovery effects become prominent. This conclusion applies specifically when the shape deformation causes plastic strain in the adjacent austenite. We thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to learn and present you this topic. We thank you so much.